Hello everybody, it's Kirsty again. You know me, the criminal astrologer. Now, I did a case for Vanessa Guillen. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, I'm so sorry. The soldier that went missing from Fort Hood. Now, unfortunately, it appears as though her remains have been found near the Leon River, near the place where the last soldier went missing, interestingly. Now, that's just so sad. The Texas Equine, the people that look for people that are missing, actually went to this spot on the 22nd of June and pretty much just walked over her, apparently. So was she moved? I'm not sure. So her remains were found near Little River Academy. It's on the 436 on the Leon River Bridge. And thank you, Denise, for giving me the information straight away. Now, another thing, now this is really breaking. Somebody, there's no name, but a suspect that was wanted in connection to the Fort Hood criminal case. Now, whether it's the previous person or Vanessa, I'm not sure, or nobody is sure at this moment. According to Killeen Police Department, officers located a suspect in the 4700 block of East Rancia Avenue around 1:30 Wednesday morning. As officers tried to make contact with the suspect pulled out a gun and shot himself and committed suicide. So that has happened as well. So what we're going to do is have a look at the chart for when Vanessa went missing. We looked at the 1 p.m. chart. We're going to backtrack to the 12:30 because she went missing between 12:30 and 1. So I can show you something in regard to the mapping. We're going to have a look at the map in regard to where she was found to see whether this is her. I have a feeling that it is. But we're also going to have a look at the chart for the person that committed suicide to see whether he was the person that killed Vanessa and or the previous soldier from Fort Hood. So moving on, let's have a little look. We're going to have a look at, just quickly, 1 p.m, which was the chart that I looked at for Vanessa. So if you go back and have a look, you can see. Then we'll go back to 12:30, and then here is the chart for the man that killed himself when he was just a suspect, which speaks volumes. Okay, so let us have a look. So this was the chart. Just as a refresher, we have Leo on the ascendant, which means the sun at 3 degrees of Taurus represents Vanessa. Now that, if you'll recall, shows me that she is, like I said, underground, but not deep. Capricorn is deep underground, and Taurus is just a little underground. So she was in a shallow grave. Well, this person was in a shallow grave. I have to say that, if it's not her, which is the sun and Taurus, so that makes sense. We had the moon at 29 degrees in Aries, so that means Mars was really important. There's anger, and we saw that with Mars here in the 7th house of the perpetrator. Now, I'll just show you the map quickly. This line here is the ascendant line, the Leo line, so that's where I was saying that should be looked at, and slightly north of that. Now, what I want you to note here, so this is the 3 degrees of Leo. Now this here is the house where the person committed suicide. Okay, it's right on this line here. Now, I didn't draw that line there just because of that. Have a look at this. First of all, I'll just move that where it belongs. This line is 26 degrees of Cancer. Now, just like magic, at 12:30 So if we'd have started with 1230, the ascendant would have been 27 degrees of Cancer. And it's 2709. Zoom it in so you can see. So it's only just 27. So 26 Cancer is the line that she's been found on. I'll zoom in. Here's the Leon River. Actually, I'm going to zoom out. The Leon River's huge. It goes all the way down from north. So I'm not surprised that a few of us got north and around Belton. So here it is. And the Leo line is 2.8 miles away. This is a fairly significant distance. 2 miles, nearly 3 miles. We were in the general area. Nevertheless, the thing that is very interesting to me is the person that killed himself is on exactly the same line as where the body was found. So what's that all about, I wonder? The 1230 chart, that's this area here. Grab my pen. Turn that into degrees and we get 100 and arrow 117. That equals 27 degrees of Cancer, because Cancer is 90 degrees naturally. 0, 30, 60, 90, and we add 27 to it. That's 117. So in that map, from north, it's 117 degrees away. Okay, so if we use this one, the ruler of Vanessa was the moon, which was right next to the sun. So it was no wonder that this area was where the bodies were, where I was looking, but where she actually was where the moon was. Well, where the ruler of the moon was. Let's have a look at the chart for when this person killed himself. Here we have 1:30 a.m. the 1st of July, early Wednesday morning, when this suspect was, when they knocked at his door or stopped him in the car. I think they might have stopped him in the car actually. He shot himself in the head. So what do we see with this? Let's grab the tool. We won't use pink because he's a boy. And the pen there. Alright, he is ruled by Aries. Aries is Mars. Remember in the other one where Mars was sitting right here in the house of the perpetrator? So Mars is important. So this person at this point in time is Aries, Mars. He's like, I need to get out of here. Aries and Mars is always really quick, fast and ready to go. Sprinters, runners, boxers, people like that. They're Aries, Mars, that type of person. It's like bam, the sooner look at them, they're gone. His Mars is in Aries itself, 1 degree of Aries, which is a very powerful position. Extremely angry position as well. A body has been found, which is Saturn. Okay, Saturn always rules just generally the deceased body, and that is at 0 degrees. This person is ruled by the moon at 1 degree, so that means that there's an aspect between them, semi-sextile, 30 degrees. But it also shows me that because they found a body, this dude's going to act very rashly. When a person is represented by 14 degrees of Aries, we look at the fixed star associated with it, and the fixed star associated with 14 Aries is Alpheratz, and the interpretation of that is popularity and honours. So it shows that this person had an honourable background. Now what also shows me that is Mars, the ruler of this person, in relationship to Saturn, which is authority. This person had authority. So that's definitely something that we can see from that. So what else do we see? So he is being spoken to by the police or the CDI, or I'm not sure, the people associated with the crime and the army, etc. So he was a suspect in that, and they're ready to interrogate him. So that's the MC. And if we look at that, here we have Capricorn. Saturn is retrograding back into Capricorn. Pluto and Jupiter are conjunct in the 10th house in Capricorn. That is the law and the authority asking this person questions. They want to know what is going on. Saturn represents authority, especially, FBI and the higher you are, the higher Saturn you can apply Saturn to, basically. So the aspect between Saturn and Mars, once again, shows that there's something going on here between what they want to know and what this person did. Okay, so the moon co-rules everything. Even if someone kills themselves, you can look to the moon to see what was going on emotionally, what was happening. Now, the first thing is that it's in the 7th house of a perpetrator of the open enemy. Not only that, it is conjunct this point here, which is the 8th house of death. And it's in Scorpio. That, if you recall from the last video, it shows sexual assault. It shows deviant sexual intention, not just the moon in Scorpio. For goodness sake, if you've got that, don't think that I'm saying that about you. This is different. So he's going to get caught for what he did, killing somebody after essentially, well, I don't even need to say it. You know what I mean. Okay, moving on, let's have a look at the 4th house, this area here, the end of the matter. I mean, we know he killed himself, so that's the end for him. But what do we see astrologically? So 8 degrees of Cancer is the IC, the 4th house cusp. Sorry, I went quiet because I was having a little look at it. 8 degrees, and then conjunct that, which means closely together, is 9 degree retrograde Mercury. Ooh, that's a harsh one. So Mercury is moving towards this IC, and the Sun as well, go away, at 9 degrees. So Mercury is being scorched by that Sun. So they're going to talk to him, and he couldn't talk his way out of it. The end of the matter was, he wasn't going to talk or communicate. He was just going to kill himself. The Cancer here is that retreating back into your shell. Like he was not going to say what he did. Killing himself was his only option. So yeah, this Sun and Mercury in the 4th house of the end of the matter conjunct that IC. Oh, it says a lot. He was keeping secrets. Mercury is communication, and when it goes retrograde, it's you don't want to tell those secrets. If you do, something bad's going to happen. He knew that, so he dared. Now Chiron is the wounded healer, and it's right next door to him, Mars. So they're close together. You see the wounded healer often when it's either the beginning of when somebody changes, or the end, the spiraling end of somebody. So he was willing to take this wounding to his death. And the 12th house here is suicide. We've got Neptune in there. It's Pisces is on the 12th house cusp. The ruler of him is in there, and the wounded healer is in there. The only option he had for this whole entire area here, oh, that's a mess, isn't it? What he felt was to kill himself. So in his mind, because Mercury is the mind as well, was thinking about the end. You know, what's going to happen in the end, what's going to happen in the end. I am not going to allow whatever is going to happen, because I have Aries energy, Mars energy. I have power and authority. I can't let it come out what happened. Okay, now let's have a look at this chart in comparison to Vanessa's. Okay, we have Vanessa's missing chart over here, the first one I did, and then the guy that killed himself's over here. So we're going to look for exact things that might be going on. So her ascendant, 3 degrees Leo. We look for Leo here. The 5th house, which is opposite the 11th house, is 3 degrees. Okay, so what is the ascendant on Vanessa's chart? So her, in this person's chart, is the 5th house cusp. That's not very nice, actually, because that shows somebody that he thought he was having fun with, if this is the person that is to do with her. So that's an exact aspect there. 3 degrees Leo, 3 degrees Leo. Let's look, the sun at 3 degrees of Taurus. No, that just sits in the 1st house of his chart. The moon at 29 of Aries sits in the 1st house of his chart. Mercury, 20 of Aries, sits in the 1st house of his chart. Okay, now this is getting interesting. You could put this whole area here into this 1st house. What it means is that at the time that this guy killed himself, Vanessa, who's up here, and what was going on at that time, is right there in the forefront of his mind. It's in the 1st house. Or the death is in the forefront of his mind. Not just that, the sun and the moon were up here on the MC out in the open when Vanessa went missing. Now the sun is down here on the end of the matter, now that this guy's killed himself. So that shows me that when she went missing, the sun's at the brightest point. It's right up in the sky. Okay, so it's straight up. And then when she was found, it's in the middle of the night, so it's very dark. But it's the opposite, so it showing us the truth. And because this is so close to Mercury, a lot closer than it was in this chart here, the truth's going to come out a lot quicker. I can imagine that he left a note. Now, let's have a look. The 3rd house is writing notes. The 3rd house is in Gemini. That's a good sign because that's the natural area for the 3rd house. So Mercury rules that. Oh, no, but then we see retrograde Mercury going back to that IC, like I said at the beginning. No, he won't leave a note. He would have just killed himself rather than say anything. So I think it'll be sorted out, like in other respects we will find out what happened. But he didn't leave a note, no. He killed himself so he didn't have to say anything. So leaving a note wouldn't make sense. He was probably in two minds whether to. Maybe he left a note to his family. That's possible. He could have left a note to his family because the 3rd house being Gemini and then Mercury being in the 4th house of family. Yeah, that rings true. Okay, what else have we got here? Mars at 15 degrees of Aquarius. There's nothing there. Neptune, 19 Pisces. Neptune, 20 Pisces in the 12th house, which is just that hidden stuff. There's a lot of... Okay, when she went missing, Neptune, which is water, and she was found near Leon River, in Pisces, was in the 8th house of death, and now it's in Pisces in the 12th house of secrets. So we can see that there's lots of secrets that this guy held, definitely. What else? Uranus, 6 degrees Taurus, 9 degrees Taurus now. So there's a few things that indicate that this could be linked, but it also could be linked to the other guy. I've got a feeling that that's, well, okay, if he did, it was because he knew what he was doing to other people. It can only be that. It's not like a serial killer that was just going around and killing anybody. That doesn't ring true. If the two murders were connected, it's because the male that was deceased found out about what was going on and was going to say something, and if it is this person, which I think it really could be, he did not want anybody to know what was going on. And we can see that by that, like I said, that Mercury conjunct the Sun really tightly, conjunct the IC going retrograde, sextiling Uranus. No surprises for this guy. And then he'd rather kill himself than talk. Okay, so just to finish it off, here is an article. Man wanted in connection to Fort Hood criminal investigation fatally shoots self, Killeen police say. Death occurred in the same city where Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillen disappeared. A person wanted in connection to a Fort Hood criminal investigation has died after he shot himself early Wednesday. What's great is now well, it's not great, it'd be better if there was no crimes ever, but the police usually write exactly what I need to know. Like on here, on Wednesday, July 1st, 2020, the Killeen Police Department, along with the assistance of the US Marshals, Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, assisted investigators with the Fort Hood Criminal Investigation Division in one of their criminal cases. At approximately 1:29 a.m, that's very specific, not approximate, it's great. Officers located the suspect in the 4700 block of East Rancier Avenue. As officers attempted to make contact with the suspect, he displayed a weapon and shot himself in the head, basically. Thank goodness for the news that tells us times. Human remains found near Central Texas River, that's Leon River. Could be Vanessa. As of 6:45 a.m. Wednesday, officials have not said if the suspect who killed himself was in connection with Vanessa's disappearance. So we don't know. I am just looking at the astrology. I will say, though, astrology is rarely wrong. So I do believe that we have a connection in some sort. But whatever happens, thank goodness that she's been found. If it is her, I hope it is for her parents' sake. Thank goodness, and she can be brought home and put to rest. Okay, thanks guys. Take care. Bye.